It was a rough day for invasive roi on the Kohala coast a few weeks ago. Piles of the unwanted fish were hunted down as a part of the first annual Roi Round-up dive tournament and Ocean Safety Day in Puako, held on October 5th.
My name is Shirley Direco. This is my son Awai, and it's my son Kalel.
The event was hosted by the Alexander and Duke Dorigo Foundation with the goal of providing educational information on the state of Hawaii's coral reefs.
One of our board of directors, Mark Sarme, he brought the idea to me, and he said he thought it would be a great idea for our foundation to raise some money and to bring knowledge about the fish to what it's doing to our reef, and so that children can have a place to go and still continue to get fish from the ocean like these guys did when they were small.
After a day of spearfishing, participants gathered at Uncle Duke's Hale to talk story and enjoy some food and music. Awards were given for the best catch. The roi are a worthwhile target. The Nature Conservancy has been keeping an eye on the invasive species as they multiply in Hawaii's waters.
So the studies that have been done so far, it kind of fall into two camps. There's a study that was done at the University of Hawaii, and that's where they estimated that a roi can eat 146 reef fish per year. Then there were some studies done in West Hawaii looking at aquarium fish, and they didn't see any sort of a correlation between roi and reef fish. So they couldn't find an effect on the reef. That's why we've been working on a study for 2 years now to go out and see what the effect of these fish in the water on the reefs are, if they're having an impact. So we're trying to measure that here in Puako, where we've been clearing them for a number of years. Yeah, there's been several studies in Puako that are showing declines of both coral and fish over time, and it's probably been happening since before people were looking, but certainly there's been a lot of people who are seeing less fish and scientists seeing less fish, so that's a concern.
The Nature Conservancy was distributing this video of a similar event held in Maui.
Every one that we kill saves 146, 126, or even 100 fish off the reef. Is money well spent.
It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. A lot of guys have had a couple of tournaments before this, so they're kind of scared while we were getting them, but I think the farther you went out, the tamer they were. It's pretty much just raping the reef. It eats everything. It doesn't have anything eating that fish, so I mean, it basically doesn't have no predator for him.
The Michael Morris Memorial Fund at the Nature Conservancy is how we got started. It's in memory of Michael Jennings Keola Morris, who's a free diver from Waimea. His family really were huge supporters of us getting involved in this kind of work. In memory of Michael. So he was a free diver that loved the ocean and wanted to do what he could. These events, these gatherings of fishermen to give back to the reef is a wonderful way for people to show that they are doing their part for the ocean too. It's not just about us coming and taking what we need, it's also about us giving back. You know, it's a reciprocal relationship. So
the roi that were caught on this day were to be processed and delivered to organic farmers in Kohala and Hamakua to use as fertilizer.
So the story of the roi was they were brought in to be food. So in the 1950s, the state of Hawaii, then the territorial government, recognized that fish were in decline, and they decided to go to other places in the world and bring in fish that we didn't have. So they're here to be food. The reason that we don't eat them a lot is because they have a high chance of being poisonous. There's something called ciguatera fish poisoning. The roi from Puako that we had tested in Oahu in 2011, were almost 3/4 of them were toxic. So 3 out of 4. It's a risky thing to do, to eat the fish, which is why we're growing food with them instead of eating them directly. So ciguatera, it starts out in this tiny little dinoflagellate called Gambrinodiscus toxicus, which grows on limu. Fish eat limu, they take it up, they store it. Fish eat those fish, they store it. Fish eat those fish. So it's called bioaccumulation as it moves up the food chain. The more fish a fish eats, the higher the chance it's going to have some of that toxin. The groupers, the snappers, the jacks, even the eels have all got a high prevalence of ciguatera. The good thing about ciguatera is it doesn't cross a cell wall. So you can compost a roi, you can grow food with the roi, and there's no risk at all to people. The native reef became what it was in the absence of roi, tape, and to'au. So the native fish of Hawaii are completely capable of taking care of the reef themselves. And introducing fish from another place in the world upsets that balance.
Alexander and Duke were two brothers who lost their lives at very young ages due to accidents that could have been prevented. The mission of the Alexander and Duke Dorigo Foundation is to bring ocean water safety education and awareness to children in our community and statewide, and provide free first aid and CPR education programs to children of all ages. This is Big Island Video News for Wednesday, October 24th, 2013. I'm Stephanie Salazar.